Hi, and welcome to the Tony Project. The Tony Project is a passion project that has been close to my heart and my mind for many, many years now. I just didn't have the understanding or best way or path forward of how I wanted to really take the story of addiction and recovery and make it something that can truly change the lives of people that interact with it. I would love to share kind of how we got here. I think it's a story that many people can relate to. I, 7 years ago, lost my oldest brother to addiction and complications with addiction. He was my best friend, and at the time, I didn't have an understanding of addiction and how it would impact people or how it could impact lives or families or people that we truly care about, and I didn't have a good understanding of really addiction as a whole or drug use. I think it was one of those where it was pretty I was pretty sheltered. And we talk about how the stories of addiction and how they impact people, and the lack of, I think, proper education around addiction really stems and creates an environment in which we are in right now. The Tony Project is something that is to not only honor his life that he lost, but it is to share my story of recovery and how him passing away truly gave me the opportunity for growth and for really, retaking control of my own life, which I think a lot of people can relate to as well. And so through education, empathy, support, and action, I am here to change the way that people view, holistic recovery and holistic healing. Because through my own journey after he passed and understanding, the path that he took at the time of his recovery, it has become very apparent that we are in a very dated way of handling addiction. We are in a very true, pretty standard to how the US handles, a lot of medical things nowadays, which is really looking at the symptoms and not really treating the root cause of a lot of the issues. It is my passion to start bringing light to the real causes for addiction and starting to shed some light of how, through proper support and through with empathy, support, and working with a licensed therapist, we can change the outcomes of addiction. We truly can. We can change, people losing their lives and loved ones losing the ones that they care about through, addiction. And we can also do it without, spiritual manipulation, or we can do it without, mind control. We can do it without all of those things. And my story, I hope that it shows that that is possible. And that is the goal of the Tony Project. The goal of the Tony Project is to challenge how people view addiction today and how they also view going about getting treatment for their addiction. There are options out there to help people in the ways that they choose to go through recovery, but it's also going to highlight the outdated and the not holistic ways of contributing to healing and holistic recovery. There are so many problems with the things that we currently have in place, and putting people back into the system that is only contributing to more problems as we see them. As we progress through the Tony Project, I'm going to be sharing my own personal recovery story of how I gave up alcohol, how I did it without, stepping foot an AA meeting, or, I did it through working with a licensed therapist and starting to treat the root cause of the problem of why I felt I needed to turn to alcohol all the time. And I want to share that story to serve as a point of inspiration to show what is possible. I think it's important to show people what is possible, because when you get to see what's possible, then you start to understand that you can do hard things and when you put in the effort. And I think it's important to show what's possible because it can serve as inspiration for others. And it can show, the dedication, and it can show how much, I cared about my journey and how much I care about helping others realize that there are better ways than what is currently out there for those who are struggling with addiction as a whole. Now, what one thing that you will hear and you will see is that I will never discredit working with a medical professional. I will never discredit anyone's journey of getting sober or going into recovery. I am here to simply state there are better ways to go about getting into recovery, and there are better ways of having a holistic relationship with substances around us. I think we live in a time and an age where there will be substances around us all of the time. We need to have the ability to really, you know, holistically look at the real causes of addiction, which ultimately comes down to mental health. And we need to shed light on mental health, and we need to shine light on trauma recovery. We need to shine light on those things to really start to break down that stigma of addiction, and helping others, one, feel comfortable asking for help, but two, also understanding there are different pathways and there are ways that we can challenge the system as it is today in order to better the outcomes for future generations or people who are currently battling addiction. That is the goal of the Tony Project. The Tony Project, again, is something that I'm holding very, very near and dear to my heart, because I know that my brother, his name was Tony, who passed, was the catalyst of what was going to eventually change my life and lead me down a path of my own recovery and my own better relationship with the substances that are around me every day. And I think sharing that story as we progress is going to help others, but also wanting to do this to reach others and show them there is a better way. And I want to help spark that change. And I am crazy enough to believe that I have the ability and a story to help change people's lives, and to make them, see, addiction in a different light and see treatment in a different light as well. I'm looking forward to continuing to share the journey as we progress. But that is a quick high-level overview of the Tony Project. Throughout the following videos, we will definitely break down more of my story and the steps that I took to get me to be in what I'm deeming a holistic recovery state. And like I said, I mean, I think this is something that I'm also going to break down the really not great parts of the system today, and ways that we can make them better. So looking forward to have everybody on the journey of the Tony Project, and I cannot wait to get started.